Hello. As you saw, this is going to be my personal review on the Jeff Nippard Power Building program. If you don't know who Jeff Nippard is, this guy right here, look at bro. He, he's basically a very scientific person. If you've seen, I'm sure you've seen his channel. You must have. But point being, his first iteration of the power building program, the power building system, or whatever it's called, that's what I personally ran or have been running. Just a little disclaimer: I have not personally finished the program, like maxed out at the end of it, but just in a few minutes I'll explain why. And so, real quick, I just want to identify myself so you can understand where I'm coming from. I am 17 years old. I am a natural weightlifter. I just lift weights in the gym. Hope to compete in powerlifting in the future, which is why I thought that running this program would be a good idea. And we're going to split this up into 3 different sections. We're going to go over the good, the bad, and then my final thoughts on it. This is just my little 2 cents. But right off, we're gonna start with the good. And so something that I noticed really well done about the program is that it gives you a lot of variety. Some of the exercises, especially like towards the beginning of the program, I had never done before. I actually had to like look it up on Google, like what is this exercise? And I end up doing it, and boom, it actually worked pretty well. Point being, good variation, I would say. It does a good job at giving you like options. The program, it lets you, mark down what your current maxes are, and also like gives you bars to put like where your maxes are now, like so you can actually see the progress instead of like having to be like, oh, in sector 4 of my notes, this is when I hit this set, this is when I PR'd. Also, it has like it's like suggested rest days. You should probably rest on these days. And if you're feeling extra good, it also gives you like a hypertrophy day, that you like, an optional hypertrophy day that you could run through, which is a blast. I would say the pumps are enormous with that one. I've definitely noticed like a pretty substantial amount of like increase in size and strength. As I mentioned before, I have not actually maxed out since going through this program. Um, but I can comfortably say that my performance has definitely shot up. And I think that's a big takeaway from this. It's that yes, this program does actually work. But with that, it has a lot of penalties, I like to say. And that's where we're going to go into the negatives of this. And so, starting off, I do recognize that, yes, this is mixing powerlifting and power building type exercises, like trying to mix both together. But one real complaint that I had is that, like, it isn't out of the realm of normal that there would be a compound lift on every workout, but sometimes just it'd be, I have to squat this day, and then the next day I'm like hitting legs. I'm working my back. And I'm sure that, squatting usually creates a lot of tension in your lower back, your quads, your hamstrings. And so the next day it asks you to like deadlift. And that hurts, man. It, I don't know. I feel like handling the frequency or the order of when you're doing these compound lifts, instead of like doing squat, deadlift, bench, you could do like squat, bench, and then deadlift. Obviously, it gives you those suggested rest days, but I just feel like that combination of squatting and then deadlifting the next day and vice versa really creates a lot of burden on your body. And speaking from personal experience, this burden that I'm talking about ended up actually getting me injured. To be fair, I did I maxed out before, like right before the program. I started the program because I was like, that now would be a good time to actually start that, because now that I've maxed out, now is a good time to cool down a little bit, start a program, and then we can work our way to maxing out again in like 10 weeks. Um, but with that high frequency of back to back, heavy squatting and heavy deadlifting, or, even just hypertrophy based squatting and deadlifting, it proved to be too much for my body. So much so that I ended up injuring my left glute area. I believe the actual diagnosis is that I strained the hamstring ligament that attaches to the pelvic floor, on your pelvic bone, obviously, where your glutes have bones, your glutes have bones. But basically I strained that from overusage of just constantly squatting, and then the next day sumo deadlifting, because I am a sumo deadlifter, as you probably have seen on I think it was my first video. And that, it was out of choice. Yes, it does tell you that, conventional or sumo, whichever you're stronger with. You could say that this is my own fault for not recognizing soon enough, but I was so dead set on the program that I'm like, this will all work out. My body will recomp. We'll all be good. We'll all be good. And then it didn't. So that's the reason why I haven't actually completed the program yet. I've had to take some time off of there, is because my glute has been injured, so I haven't been able to do any sumo deadlifting or even just squatting. Just recently, actually like a few days ago, I actually squatted again for like the first time with no pain, I would say. But as I'm sure a lot of people out there are, it's hard to put down the gym. Wrapping it back all up, that's what I feel that could be worked on a little bit. I feel adjustments could be made where, for 1 week it's heavier based, and then the next week it's lighter, or maybe every other day is, lighter, heavier. Anyways, I feel like that's an improvement that could be made. So with all that in consideration, something you're going to want to look out for if you try this program yourself is, when you're following that stuff, be considerate of yourself. Try and, think, I am safe to do this today. I feel good. If you feel like crap, don't try and go heavy, because chances are you're going to cause an injury, overusage. I think that's also something that other people who have reviewed this program have said, that recovery is tough on this program. But besides that, I haven't had too many other complaints besides just the high amount of consistent heavy compound lifting. And now that we've spoken on the positives and the negative, I guess there was only one negative, so that's what shows that it's pretty good. It's $60, yes, but it's pretty good. My final thoughts for this one, I think that there was good variation technique wise, like on your eccentric phases of a rep or whatever. It gives you good information on what you should do there to really contract the muscle and, strengthen it in the process, obviously. And as stated, too much back-to-back compound lifting in some variations with the squat and deadlift. I just feel there was too much heavy lifting at points because, as stated before, even with those suggested rest days, that sometimes just wouldn't be enough. If you're really actually like giving 100%, like you should be, like you shouldn't train like a weenie, um, then obviously it could stack up very quickly, and that's where you need to be careful with it. Uh, Learn from my experience, I guess. But anyways, if I were to simplify this, if we were to just give it like a rating, like out of 10, I would say that it is a good 7 out of 10. It would be like an 8.5 if I didn't end up getting injured. Not just in my glute, but I actually almost tore my pecs benching like a couple weeks ago from all this heavy benching as well. Maybe I'm just a bitch. 7 out of 10 is what I'm gonna give it. Is it worth $60? I do believe so. It does a really good job at making it worthwhile. You know, it doesn't hold back on any of it. It doesn't give you the crutches, it gives you the wheelchair right off the bat, so you're completely mobile. Well, without your legs, of course. But yeah, if you agree with me, that's sweet. If you have some pressing comments that you want to point out, maybe some things I should reconsider when actually thinking about it, then don't be afraid to type it in the comment section. I will take it with, well, no grain of salt, because, you know, I just, feedback is important, you know, it helps people see it from other perspectives, I suppose. And so that was my review on Jeff Nippard's power building program, the first iteration, not the second or third, but number one. So thanks for listening to my opinion on this, and have a good day.